All Chevy Tahoes come standard with a third row, but is it enough for you? In this video, I'm going to go over the third row of the Chevy Tahoe because maybe you're wondering, can it work for me and my lifestyle? And in this video, by the end of it, you should know if the third row actually makes sense for an individual like you. Basically, throughout this entire video, we're going to talk about, do you actually have leg room back there in the third row? Do you got cargo room, like when you put your luggage in the back when the third row is up, or even when the third row is down, or even when the captain chairs are down? How much space exactly do you get in a Chevy Tahoe? And I'm going to use myself, me being 5'7", so I'm definitely not the tallest guy, but I'm not the shortest guy. So you can kind of use me as measurement throughout the video. And if you can like and subscribe to the channel, I would greatly appreciate it, and it definitely helps out. All right, so let's jump into the third row and see just how much space you truly have back here. So, all right. So when you're in the middle seat, this one isn't too bad. So hopefully you get the middle seat if you're stuck in the third row of a Chevy Tahoe. So this one I could actually extend my legs a bit. I'm 5'7", so you could use that as reference. You can see right here that I can extend my legs out quite a bit, and then I can bring them up. And if you're 6 foot plus, I'm not gonna lie, you might hit your legs on the back seat of the captain chairs, which these chairs do not adjust. So keep that in mind. But let's get behind one of them and see how that feels. So as you can see here, pretty tight. So you can see that my knees are very close to the chair. If you're 6 foot plus, I do not think you could fit back here. As someone that's 5'7", it's still pretty tight. It's still very uncomfortable. I don't feel comfortable back here. You can see the headrest. This actually adjusts up. So I could adjust it, but for the sake of the video, I'm going to leave it how it is. But even without that being adjusted, this is a very uncomfortable fit. And I just slide across to show you just how you can maneuver back here. My foot size is also 9.5. So if you have a bigger foot than 9.5, that would also be uncomfortable because it'll curl up as it hits the back of the captain chairs. And then you can see here, my head space from the actual roof of the car. So yeah, I mean, the third row isn't comfortable, especially if you're 6 foot plus. But if you have kids back here, small kids, which I would assume are back here in the Chevy Tahoe, then it probably works just fine. So let's look at it from my point of view. As you can see here, back in the third row, my knees are a certain distance away from the captain chairs. But let's say I slid back here, and you can see it like this, kind of where my knees are literally inches away from the captain chairs, but my feet are also tight to where I put them to the side a bit to be even more comfortable. But let's say you had 3 kids in the back, and then you had 2 adults in the 2 captain chairs, and then obviously the driver and the passenger, then it should work just fine, in my opinion. Obviously, take it with a grain of salt depending on how big your children are or how big the individuals are in the captain chairs. But for the most part, that should work. Okay, so let's talk about how much cargo space you actually have in the Chevy Tahoe. Like I said, this is a 2016 for anyone wondering. But basically, with the seats up, the third row seats up, you have 15.3 cubic feet of cargo space behind the actual third row. So if you were wondering how much cubic space you have 15.3 cubic feet of cargo space. This is how much that is, which is a small amount if you ask me. I don't think this is enough space for someone who is traveling out of town or something of that nature to be able to go comfortably. As you can see, it's not much space. I could sit back here and kind of show you what I'm talking about here, but it's not much space. So even if I was to try to like sit, it is a tight, like imagine having luggage and you're trying to put it in, it's not much space. But this is if you need the third row. Say you have people that are sitting in the third row, but you also want to put luggage back here as well, you wouldn't be able to. Like I was starting to say you have 4 adults and 3 kids going on a trip. There's no way 4 adults and 3 kids worth of luggage is going to fit back here in this cargo space. I mean, they do have a little secret compartment back here, which you could check it out. It's not much, but a little extra. I don't want to fail to mention this because it is still space. You can fit things in there. But like I said, for the most part, this isn't going to do it. But say you were to get rid of the third row and you were to be like, you know what? I need this space. So you got to get rid of the third row. No 3 kids, just 4 adults at this point. So we'll put this one down. We'll put this one down. At this point, we now have 51.7 cubic feet with the third row folded. So that's how much cargo space you have with the third row folded, is 51.7 cubic feet, which this gives you a lot more room. I will say you will probably be able to fit the majority of what you need on a trip with this much space, but you also eliminate the 3 other people coming with you that you would have the luggage for otherwise. So just the 4 adults should be able to fit some stuff back here. And this one got way more space, so when you fold the third row. So personally, if you were to ask me on the third row of a Chevy Tahoe, I wouldn't recommend it, simply because it actually takes up more cargo space that you could use for things that are more useful, unless of course you're an individual that need the third row for people, right? But obviously I wouldn't suggest a Chevy Tahoe. I would probably suggest something more so like the Suburban, or even the Yukon XL, something that's a bit extended, not the Chevy Tahoe. If you get the Chevy Tahoe for the third row, I think that isn't the best use of money personally. But say you wanted to maximize the cargo space in the Chevy Tahoe, let's put the captain chairs down as well. So I just hit this button here, hit this button here. It gives you a little bit more space. As a matter of fact, it gives you 94.7 cubic feet of space whenever you put the third row down and the second row down. So now you have even more space to put things in the Chevy Tahoe, but obviously you can fit less people. This is for 2 individuals, but you have plenty of space to put your belongings in. So I guess my final verdict to this entire thing is, if you actually need the third row, I would not suggest the Chevy Tahoe. I would suggest something more like the Yukon XL or the Suburban. Those are 2 good options, because those vehicles are basically this vehicle but extended. So just make sure you do your due diligence before getting a vehicle strictly for certain features like the third row. I hope this video helped, and if you don't mind liking and subscribing to the channel, it helps me out tremendously and I would greatly appreciate it. But with that being said, I'll see y'all on the next one.